Number 5. In February 2013, a few neighbors in a northern Oregon area reported hearing unusual sounds coming from the forest. The noises were characterized as sounding like eerie laughter. It echoed over the surrounding region and was loud. When the homeowner heard the sounds, they went outside to the area where the sound seems to be coming from and began to record. Some believe that coyotes or foxes are the source of the noises, while others disagree. For instance, coyotes don't scream as loudly and instead have a lot more like a dog-like cry. It's still unknown what exactly was creating the noise that night. Number 4. Daniel O'Neill is a YouTuber from the UK with a channel called English Woodsman, where he's been uploading videos of his camping trips in the UK for almost 10 years. Most of the channel's videos feature Daniel reviewing camping gear for his viewers and showing footage of his adventures in the great outdoors. For the most part, they are pretty tame, but in August 2023, he uploaded a video of his camping trip in the woodlands close to his home, and the footage is pretty disturbing. The first part of the video pretty much just shows Daniel walking through the woods and talking to his subscribers, eating berries and pointing out the sights on the way to the campsite at several points. Along the way, he pauses to mention the footprints and the garbage he sees lying on the trail, indicating other people have been there in the last few days.
Someone's been here. There's a lot of rubbish around here. Yeah, look at the state of this. It does get used, doesn't it?
After about a 20 minutes walk, he sits down at a clearing where he plans to set up camp for the night and leans back on a tree to eat his noodles. It's not until around 25 minutes into the video that things start to get seriously disturbing for Daniel.
I'll be out Friday night, but I'm going away Saturday, so I've got a bit of a drive as well, so I didn't want to be tired, and it's going to throw it down Friday night as well, and rain camping is really good. Is that a badger? Hello?
Even though some pretty human-like footsteps could be heard right behind Daniel, as soon as he turns around to scan his environment, there's nobody in sight. What's most disturbing is that as soon as he turned around and yelled, "Hello," the footsteps immediately stops. Next few minutes, he sits down and tries to regain his composure. Things only continue to get even more creepy as the sun begins to set.
There's that noise again now. Hello? Hello? You got to better hear that. There's nobody here.
Here's about 40 minutes into the video. The footstep noises can be heard again, and this time it sounds like they are getting closer to Daniel. By this point, most people would have fled out of there without any hesitation. But Daniel decides to sit back down to finish his dinner as he tries to calm his nerves for the second time. Amazingly, a few minutes later, it almost seems like he completely forgot about the footsteps and manages to think about less disturbing things, which is honestly pretty impressive. But as darkness set in, the eerie footsteps starts up again.
I'm going to be honest, I can't stay here now. I'm going to be a wimp. I don't care if people call me a wimp in the comments, but I can't stay here. I'm too unsettled. I'm nervous. I've done camping like this a load of times. I think I'm going to go find somewhere else to get this bivvy set up. But I'm leaving this spot.
Understandably, after this third incident, Daniel decides to head somewhere else for the night to play it safe. It's hard to know what exactly was making those sounds, but because they sounded very similar to human footsteps, it's possible that Daniel was being stalked by someone in the woods. This is obviously incredibly dangerous, as you can never really trust someone's intentions when you are in such a vulnerable position all by yourself in unknown territory. It was either that or an animal walking through the grass, but because Daniel mentioned the grass was like a little wet and wouldn't have made that dry sound if an animal stepped on it, this is pretty unlikely. Number 3. This audio was uploaded to YouTube by a user named horrifying. He recorded it around 2 a.m. in December of 2014. The uploader lives in a forest, and he mentioned that the noises in the audio were coming from deep in the woods behind his house. It's hard to make out what the child is yelling, but after listening closely, several users jumped in the comments to point out that you can also hear an adult voice yelling, "Where are you?" in addition to the young female voice making most of the noise. This quieter and more subtle male voice that can be heard in the audio only makes the whole incident much more disturbing. Near the end of the video, the uploader mentions that after that night, he checked the news every day to see if he could find some explanation for the screams, but he never did. The fact that the screaming was captured at around 2 a.m. in the freezing cold weather and in the middle of the woods indicate that the uploader could have genuinely recorded something pretty sinister taking place that night. It's hard to tell why the uploader would record and upload the audio instead of immediately calling the police after hearing a female voice in such obvious distress. But at this point, there's not much that can be done about it. Maybe the uploader did call the police there. There weren't much context given in the video. We can only hope that whatever happened that night was eventually solved, but based on the horrors of the screams and the strangeness of the whole situation, we probably won't ever be able to know for sure. Number 2. On September 6, 2016, a Reddit post was made linking to a video that claimed to feature a weird noise from the wood. Included was a text that read,
"I put the kids to bed tonight and heard this loud, really bizarre sound coming from the woods outside my house. It lasted about 15 to 20 minutes. We have a handful of neighbors nearby, but this was too loud to be coming from them. It seemed to be coming from the direction of a nearby AM radio tower. But can those towers make noises like this? I googled around but couldn't find anything similar."
Commenters immediately started speculating what the sound could have been. One of them suggested it could have been the sound of high wind passing through a nearby cell tower, the metal on metal being what created the eerie tone. But the poster applied, saying there was almost no wind that night, and even on days when it was windy, he never heard this sound. Another commenter said the sound was extremely consistent with what it sounds like to drill into a strut or supports that made of high carbon steel, but said that it would be weird to be doing this that late into the night. To this day, it's still unknown what the sound in the video actually is. Number 1. In May 2014, an Imager user uploaded a blog post where he talked about the time he went to a friend in northern Germany. According to the uploader, his friend told him about these pipes that he had found in the woods near his house that stuck up out of the ground like periscopes. Apparently, his friend and his siblings played near the pipes as kids and knew that there were bunkers hidden below them, but their parents never allowed them to get near them out of concern for their safety. During the visit narrated in the blog post, the uploader and his friend decided to check out the pipes and finally go down into the bunker. And they found some pretty disturbing stuff. A few 100 feet away from the trees, they found the entrance to the bunker covered with a loosely placed piece of wood that they easily removed with a crowbar. As they ventured further and further into the maze of tunnel, they found graffiti on some of the walls, indicating they weren't the first people to get to the idea to explore the underground bunkers. To the explorers' horror, one of the walls deep inside the tunnels had the word "Hell" graffitied all over it. It's possible that it is just sprayed on there by another group of teens trying to be funny, but the eerie nature of the bunker, coupled with the general state of disarray, really makes you wonder if something more sinister took place down there at some point, possibly even written by German soldiers in the later parts of World War II. As they traveled deeper into the bunker, they found some more disturbing graffitis, messages reading, "Hello Satan, I love you." Obviously, that's not the kind of message you want to see in a tunnel system like this, but the two friends decided to keep on exploring anyway. After several hours down in the bunker, they ended up finding tons of more twisting, winding hallways, flooded rooms with old machines and dark, narrow corridors that reached dead ends. The explorer managed to make it out of there safely and didn't go back there again. There is one more thing that is more terrifying than these clips, and it's what your life would be like without watching more of our videos.